One of the things you're gonna do when you prepare to get divorced is to get your SWAT together. First thing you're gonna probably start with is finding the lawyer. And how soon should you start thinking about this? I mean, if you're watching this video, you should be thinking about this. Are you thinking about getting divorced? With the internet and social media, probably you can learn something about all the lawyers around you. And if you can't, ask yourself that question. Wouldn't I want to go hire a lawyer? I'm a little biased. Here I am making this video, right? But wouldn't you want to go hire a lawyer that you can kind of get to know and like and trust through how they show up on the computer? So for me, if I was thinking about getting divorced, I would make it my business to go watch all the content of the divorce lawyers I would consider in my area. Maybe you get a recommendation from a friend. Maybe you go to all the best of lists, but Plot Ruiner, a lot of those are BS, but you can maybe on Google or Yelp or something with real reviews, right? And start getting to know them with as much lead time as you have. Is their approach super duper, we're gonna burn it down, if he screwed you, we'll screw him too, and that kind of the attitude? Or are they a little bit more conciliatory, let's end well, let's try to do this as decently as we can? So finding a group that you really align with is super important. Because here's the thing, you're going to be talking to this person on a regular basis for months, if not years. And I know that's not what you want to hear. You're in my state, we can get divorced in 60 days. Plot Ruiner, you're probably not getting divorced in 60 days, okay? Overwhelming majority of you, it's going to take a lot longer than that. So find someone whose communication style resonates with you, that you feel really listens when you're speaking. That's probably the number one thing I would tell you is is this person giving a about what you're saying? Are they hearing you? Or they keep checking their watch? Is it time to go? Looking at their phone, acting like they'd rather be anywhere but here. And then try to determine whether their approach to this whole thing aligns with your heart and what you feel inside. So that when you pick this really important squad member, kind of like the quarterback, you find someone who's going to be with you for the duration of the long term. When planning to get divorced, you're going to want to think about the money, honey. And you may say hey, do I have to get a financial planner? If you don't already have a financial planner in your life, that are wealth advisor, money manager, whatever they call themselves, right before you get divorced is probably not the time you're going to be doing that, okay? Or if you do, sometimes there are some of these, I think they're called CFPs or something like that, where they're the financial planners who specialize in divorce. So you could go talk to them, ahead of time, maybe. What you're not going to do is run to your mutual financial planner to start talking about your plan to get divorced and it's not that they're going to do the wrong thing. Those people are generally speaking super ethical, but it's more you're going to put them in the middle. Imagine it's you and one of your clients says, I think I want to get divorced and how do I get the money? But you owe duties to this other client. What are they supposed to do? So if you're going to go talk to somebody about the money, I don't think that's the worst idea, but make sure it's someone who specializes in divorce and understands, and there isn't this already existing relationship with someone else. But more than anything, probably what you need to do is get really clear on budget sort of numbers. Think more bookkeeper level of numbers than lofty ideas of how I want to make wealth over the course of my life. How am I going to pay my bills during the pendency of this divorce? That's in the planning phase. Because once you start the divorce, then it's a different ball game. Your financial planner is probably going to get in the middle of this situation, whether they like it or not. You will likely be suggested by your lawyer to connect with somebody who deals with money, who can help you make short and long-term plans for yourself. But in the planning stages, I would suggest you get pretty focused on more budget questions before you file, because after that, you will have some more resources to help you make those decisions and make the right connections and advise you at what point in the process you want to take each of those steps with bringing other people into the fray. If you're preparing to get divorced, one thing that's going to come up in every conversation you have, every reel you're probably drawn to, is protecting your mental health, protecting your peace. And one of the suggestions that makes really good sense and is really like well-intentioned advice is to make sure and go talk to somebody, talk to a therapist. And yes, therapists can save lives. They can change your life. They can really help support you in this time. I just want to suggest you do so with a dose of caution, because talking with that therapist is likely something that could come up in your divorce, what you tell them, because you put in issue, it's called, in your divorce, your mental health. So if you go confide in this therapist, you're like having suicidal ideation thoughts, which like it's such a balance, because if that's happening to you, you need to talk to someone. And it can and may very well likely be used against you in your court case, and it sucks. And I'd rather you know than not know. So whenever you talk to this therapist, maybe they're the sort of therapist who doesn't write down everything you say. Maybe they're the sort of therapist who listens and like doesn't just recall everything all that real good that you talked about or something. But even if they have you like at their office, when you fill out the paper, some of them will have you agree in advance. Like, I will not subpoena you. But the thing is, you can't protect against the other side subpoenaing them, like using the court to force them to talk about what you said. And it's so invasive and it sucks and it's hard and you still have to get the help. So you see why it's like there's not a real magic bullet, magic pill answer to this. You got to do what you need to take care of yourself, but keep in mind that you may see that information again in the future, and you have to think through how that's going to play out. When you're preparing to get divorced, one of the most helpful, supportive, encouraging, like steadfast things you can have is a really great and reliable support network of friends and family. Because sis, things are going to get rough. You may think they're rough now, and they may be tough. Whatever it is, it's not going to get easier once the divorce starts, right? Like different challenges you cannot even foresee, you don't even know about yet. Not because you're like dumb or something, it's just because how would you know? You haven't been through this before. But like big challenges and things are coming for you, and you're going to need somewhere to turn. Somebody to talk to extend a hand, to remind you of who you are, remind you of the magic inside of you, and just literally be someplace to talk, to go to when you need help. You remember that phrase, keep your friends close and your enemies closer? I don't really like to think in terms of enemies, but are any of your enemies keeping you closer? You got to be careful that you don't let a fox in the hen house or like a snake in the grass, whatever it is, like be careful that there's not an intruder in your situation. I know in my own life, somebody that my ex-husband and I were both really close to, I confided in and talked through, like even on weekends when he was traveling, like bared my heart and soul to. And I would have counted her in, like when the rubber met the road, I really believed that she would have been on my side. And when the rubber met the road, she wasn't. I'll never forget pulling up to her house. She had this big old long driveway. And just all I could utter out when I realized what had happened, it's like the world spun around me, right? And like, that moment where you're like, oh, right? And that's how it felt to me. And I just remember saying, how could you? How could you? And that was it. That's all I had. And then basically my true, the sort of stuff you say to a girlfriend, like with a glass of wine on Friday night. Maybe you mean it all. Maybe it's just the moment. Maybe he's really pissed you off today. Or maybe it's just like your deepest, darkest fears, wants, desires, hopes, dreams. And then they have them. I only say that just to say like, look, you got to be careful. I'm just, your gal Hannah warning you before it happens. It's not the thing that should guide you. It's just a little dose of caution. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure, right? So just being a little bit careful about who you let into your life in your close support network. And especially if it's someone that's like a mutual person between you and your ex, that would not be my first choice for who gets to be in the close circle. Maybe they're awesome and everything, but like if you can't be sure, that's not the ones you need to turn to. But building out, I envision like this web around you, and the web may be one person. Your web may have 2. I mean, it's probably not going to have more than 3 to 4 because you're busy. Wife, mom, whatever. You're getting divorced. You got to get paperwork together. You got to answer the lawyer, still read the school emails. Like, you're going to be busy, but just somebody you can go to who'll understand. It's probably especially helpful if that person's been divorced, because once we've been there, done that, got the t-shirt, we're the member of a certain club, and people who haven't, they just don't understand. Like, oh man, I don't know how you do. They mean so well. I don't know how you do that. Like, I just don't know how you're so strong. And they think they're saying something nice to you. When really it's like, I don't know, I'm not that strong. I don't know how I'm doing it either. And that is not helpful. In case you're watching this, like, that's not helpful to say to someone. Probably the most helpful thing you can say is, I'm so sorry. How can I help? Or even better yet, just like show up to help. But anyway, having those people around you, especially if they've gone through divorce, could be really helpful. Keep it in mind. Careful that you don't like catch their projections or the way they wish it would have went, or their toxicity to the whole thing. So just be careful how you choose it, but do shore that up. And in case there's any bumpiness in your inner circle right now, when you're planning for divorce, let's smooth out those bumps. You don't want to go into a divorce in like a heated war of the roses with your mama, okay? Because you may find your mama like helping him out, and that would be like the worst case scenario. That will not feel good.